Welcome to this hour's international news. Let's hear the headlines first. US faced with protests amid pressure to reopen. New Zealand to ease restrictions after stopping explosion. US oil prices drop to 21-year low as demand rise up. North Korea denies writing letter to Donald Trump recently, says report. And Trump says US tested more than India, 9 others for COVID-19. That's a record. These were the headlines. Let's jump into the details news now. Protesters have taken to the streets in states across the US demanding that governors reopen economics shut by the coronavirus pandemic. Rallies in Arizona, Colorado, Montana, and Washington state took place on Sunday following earlier protests in half a dozen states. Agitation for easing restrictions has grown despite the risk of COVID-19 resurgence posted by reopening too soon. US President Donald Trump has signaled support for the protestees. The US has become the center of COVID-19 crisis, with over 735,000 cases and some 40,000 deaths. But signs have emerged that it is reaching the apex of the outbreak and that infection rates are slowing in some states. In Washington state, an early US virus hotspot, hundreds of people gathered in the state capital Olympia to demand the governor relax rules restricting the economy. Police estimated the crowd at 2,500, making it one of the largest protests in US states against lockdowns over the past week, Reuters news agency reports. Many of the protesters ignored social distancing guidelines as well as pleas for rally organizers to wear masks. New Zealand Prime Minister PM Jacinda Ardern has thanked people for stopping an uncontrolled explosion of COVID-19 as she announced an easing of lockdown. The country has been praised for its quick and strict response to the virus and will move from level 4 lockdown to level 3 late next Monday. It means some business can reopen along with some schools, while rules on local travel will be relaxed. We have done what very few countries have been able to, Ms. Ardern said. The price of US oil has fallen to a level not seen since 1999 as demand rises up and shortage runs out. The price of a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, the benchmark of US oil, dropped 14% to 15.65 USD in Asia trading on Monday. The oil market has come under intense pressure during the coronavirus pandemic with a huge slump in demand. US shortage facilities are now struggling to cope up with the glut of oil, weakening prices further. The oil industry has been struggling with both tumbling demand and in fighting among producers about reducing output. Earlier this month, OPEC members and its allies finally agreed to a record deal to slash global output by about 10%. The deal was the largest cut in oil production ever to have been agreed. But some analysts said the cuts were not big enough to make a difference. It hasn't taken long for the market to recognize that the OPEC Plus deal will not, in its present form, be enough to balance oil markets, said Stephen Ince, Chief Global Market Strategist of Exicrop. North Korea on Sunday denied a letter was sent to US President Donald Trump, North Korea state news agency KCNA said, citing a foreign ministry press chief. The denial comes after Trump told reporters that he recently received a nice note from North Korea leader Kim Jong-un. Trump has said on Saturday in Washington, "We are doing just fine with North Korea." Speaking of a US media report, KCNA said in the statement, he could have referred to the personal letters that had been exchanged in the past. We are not sure. But there was no letter addressed recently to the US president by the supreme leadership of the DPRK. Democratic People Republic of Korea in North Korea's official name. North Korea's foreign ministry said in the statement quoted by KCNA that relations between the US and the North Korean leaders are not an issue to be taken up just for a diversion, nor it should be misused for meeting selfish purposes. An official form from South Korea's presidential office on Sunday told reporters that Trump not mentioned the letter to South Korea President Moon Jae-in during a phone call with him on Saturday. Trump had sent a letter to North Korea leader Kim in March, which North Korea said was a sign of the special and very firm personal relations between the two leaders, despite recent friction. The United States has carried out more tests for the novel coronavirus pandemic than 10 other countries, including India, taken together, President Donald Trump has said. On Sunday, Mr. Trump said that the US continued to make steady progress in its own Sunday was against the coronavirus disease, and the country had tested 4.18 million people. That's a record anywhere in the world, he said. We have done more testing than all of these countries combined: France, United Kingdom, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, India, Australia, Austria, Sweden, and Canada, Mr. Trump told reporters at a news conference in the White House. The number of COVID-19 deaths in the US crossed 40,000 and the total infections were more than 764,000 so far. New York, the epicenter of the deadly COVID-19 in the US, has 242,000 cases.